Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our amazing, beautiful weather that we're so grateful. So grateful. You can't hear me. Okay, Chris, help me out here. I don't want, that's a big microphone to eat. All right, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm just going to eat this microphone, and it's quite huge, so, okay. Welcome, everybody, to the annual Veterans Day Appreciation event. It is my honor to be here today hosting this event for another year. My name is Susan Lamb, and I represent the 4th Council District here in Lexington. And I serve on the LFUCG Commission on Veterans Affairs. First of all, I would just like to thank you all for joining us today to show your support for our veterans and their families. This nation would be nothing without our troops bravely fighting for our freedom and safety each and every day. Veterans, today we stop and concentrate our gratitude and never-ending thanks on you. We appreciate you today and always. I would also like to recognize and thank my colleagues and other Fayette County elected officials who have joined us here today. Council members Whitney Baxter, Liz Sheehan, Richard Maloney, David Kloiber, Chuck Ellinger, James Brown, Amanda Mays Bledsoe, Preston Worley, Jennifer Reynolds, and Josh McKern. And if I've missed anybody, I apologize profusely. Also, I want to recognize Representative Sherilyn Stevenson and Killian Timoney, and also representing Senator Paul is Mika Megan Sims here today. I really appreciate everybody coming out today. It's a beautiful day. Now, to begin our program, I would like to invite Scout Caroline Stapleton from Scout Troop 419 to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a performance from Veterans Park Elementary Intermediate Chorus of the Star Spangled Banner. Please welcome Caroline and join me in standing if you can.
Yes. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. Now, please be seated, and thank you so much, Caroline, and our wonderful chorus. The Veterans Elementary School, they brought 75 students over here today. Is that not just amazing? This year, we have been fortunate to partner with the Kentucky and Transylvania chapters of the Daughters of the American Revolution to host today's event in commemoration of the Centennial of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Now I would like to introduce the Kentucky DAR State Regent Carol Rogow. Miss Rogow?
Each year, November 11th, is a day to remember and honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice that we might live and enjoy our freedoms today. As we commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we remember and honor those unknown military who gave their all in service to our country. It's also a day to remember and honor those who lived through the horrible circumstances of war and survived. Their bravery and courage are worthy as well. On behalf of the 84 chapters and 4,500 members of the Kentucky Society Daughters of the American Revolution, I'm honored to bring greetings to you on this special day of commemoration for the many men and women of our military who have so valiantly served our great country during war and peace. Patriotism is one of the components of our DAR mission, and as DAR members, we proudly promote loyalty to our country in all our endeavors. When I think of patriotism, I'm reminded of my uncle. He left high school to join the Army during World War II. He was a private on Corregidor in the Philippines when he was captured by the Japanese. He was imprisoned on Manila before being transported on one of the death ships to China, where he was confined in a Japanese POW camp in Manchuria for more than 3 years. Our family didn't know where he was or if he was alive for a long time until they were contacted by the Red Cross. We are grateful that he survived and returned home after the war. He was a quiet man and didn't talk about his POW experiences for many years, but he attended a reunion once a year with his POW buddies. As they got older and began to die, they decided that they needed to tell their stories. Otherwise, their experiences would be gone forever. Then he began to talk. At family gatherings, he would describe his living conditions, their lack of food, the brutality, and the jobs he had while he was imprisoned. He talked about how wonderful it was to have freedom. After the war, he was in a military hospital in California for a while. Sometimes he would leave the hospital and walk downtown in his pajamas. Those were the only clothes he had. He would see other former POWs walking around town in their pajamas too. They didn't care because they were free. His name was Henry Crawford Harlan, and he lived to be 95 years old. May we never forget to honor the courage and sacrifices of our military heroes, both known and unknown. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mary Broach, Chapter Regent of the Transylvania Chapter, who will speak.
Thank you, Madam Regent. I would also like to recognize another DAR dignitary here with us today. Her name is Jackie Ferris. She is our 3rd District Director representing the Central Kentucky area of the Kentucky Society, DAR. Thank you, Jackie, for being here. A 100 years ago today, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was dedicated with a bouquet of white roses for the remembrance of those soldiers who did not return home after the First World War. Today, at the Centennial, we would like to rededicate that dedication of remembrance and expand it to remember all of the veterans through all of our wars that have fought and sacrificed for our freedom that we have today. So thank you for all of you veterans. Today we present and dedicate this garden, the Never Forget Garden, which is where we feature those white roses, but also have planted several other plants, shrubs, and trees mentioned in the program, some of which symbolize honor, integrity, purity, and of course, remembrance. In the center of the garden is a monument that has an inscription on it, and I would like to read you that inscription. This garden is a living tribute to all of America's veterans and their families in silence and respect. This is a place to remember why millions of Americans have fought and died for our liberty and our freedom. Here we renew our promise to fulfill America's sacred duty to never forget. Here we renew our mutual pledge to support them with our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We do hope that the entire community will come here to remember those veterans, to have solace in their losses, and also to be grateful for all of those veterans that have sacrificed for a greater good and preserved our freedom and our way of life. In order to create this garden, it has taken an army of volunteers to do that. I would like to recognize at least some of those, the first being the 5 chapters of the Lexington's DAR. They are the Captain John McKinley chapter, Captain John Waller, the Bryan Station, the Lexington chapter, and the Transylvania chapter. Also like to thank the Lafayette chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution. I certainly want to thank the Lexington, Fayette, Urban County government who also supported this project, as well as Mayor Linda Gorton, who was instrumental in helping us to place this garden in Veterans Park for the entire community to enjoy. And last but not least, I would like to recognize Doris Settles, who is the chairman of this Never Forget Garden. You will hear from her later, but she has worked for the better part of a year organizing different entities from the community, not only the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Sons of the American Revolution, but she's worked with the city government, with the mayor, and with a myriad of garden experts and resources throughout the community. So thank you very much, Doris. You've done a yeoman's work in helping us to create this garden. Thank you all for coming to help us dedicate this garden, and I hope you will come back on numerous occasions to enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Carol and Mary, and all those from the DAR who have joined us today. We have such I love looking out and seeing the crowd. This is fabulous. It's just so exciting. Now, we are so pleased also to have Mayor Linda Gorton with us today. She has been serving as our mayor since January of 2019. She also served as Lexington's vice mayor, and before that, she represented the 4th Council District as its council member, too. She has a very personal veteran connection herself. Let's please welcome Mayor Gorton. Thank you. They say they can hear. Just eat the microphone.
Good morning, everyone. This is a great day. We got the sunshine, and we're all looking forward to seeing this garden in bloom next spring. And so we're here today to celebrate and appreciate our veterans. And first of all, I want to thank Councilmember Susan Lamb for organizing this event again. Thank you. I know that last year COVID-19 put this event on pause, and so we're all grateful that we can be together again. And Veterans Park Elementary, you rock. Thank you. Council members, thank you for being here this morning to celebrate. And Congressman Barr and General Adams, it's always good to see the two of you. Thank you. So first, I want to recognize at least one person in our audience who's a very special guest. He's a World War II veteran. And I would love it if all of you could thank him with a round of applause. Glendale Bennett, he's in the orange jacket here. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have other World War II vets here. You know there, pardon me? A widow of a World War II vet. Thank you, Jane. So today we celebrate our veterans, and today we also recognize the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. As you know, the Tomb of the Unknowns lies in Arlington Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C. I have a very special connection to Arlington Cemetery. My son right now is active duty Army, and during his time in service, he served in the Army's Old Guard. The Old Guard is the oldest active duty infantry unit in the Army, serving since 1784. And my son's role was to serve Arlington Cemetery. He was on the Presidential Salute Battery, assisting with veteran burials. As a member of the Old Guard, he was also called to perform search and rescue at the Pentagon immediately following the 9/11 attacks. He was 20 years old at that time. The Old Guard also maintains the 24-hour vigil at the Tomb of the Unknowns. It is so amazing. The Lexington chapters of the Kentucky Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Lafayette chapter of the Kentucky Society of the Sons of the American Revolution have come together to commemorate the tomb's 100th anniversary with the Never Forget Garden. And we are so proud to have this in our community. Today, we also remember those who have fallen during their military service, our POWs, those who are still missing in action, and those who have come back to live a civilian life. I actually had an uncle who was a POW in France. This is all very personal, and it is so important that we support those who have returned, the families who've been with them all along the way. Lexington is doing everything it can to be welcoming to our veterans. Our Commission on Veterans Affairs works to identify ways to support, recognize, and honor our veterans. We've worked hard to help our homeless veterans, and in early 2019, we were able to announce an effective end to veteran homelessness here in Fayette County. We have veteran parking signs at several of our parking facilities across the city. We are working currently to become the permanent home of the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. We know we can always do better. especially in support of our women veterans. As a military spouse, I understand what being in the military means and how important it is for our community to support veterans and their families. I want to thank each and every one of you who have served in the military today. I know a lot of you are in our audience, and I want to thank the family members and friends who have supported our veterans. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those of you who committed your lives to defending and securing our freedoms, and for those who stood beside you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Gorton, and your family for its service. Now it is my pleasure to introduce a man who advocates for our veterans on Capitol Hill, ensuring that they receive the highest level of service and honor possible. Congressman Barr, he has served the 6th Congressional District since January of 2013. He is a member of the Committee on Financial Services, House Committee on Veterans Affairs, and is a ranking member of the Oversight and Investigations Committee. His office also maintains the 6th District Veterans Coalition. Please welcome Congressman Barr.
Councilmember, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. And it is a beautiful morning. Councilmember Lamb, not only thank you for hosting this celebration of our veterans every year, but doing so and ordering up such great weather for us today. This event is very special this year because we're able to meet in person again. And to everyone here today, I want to point out that even during the global pandemic, Councilmember Lamb made sure our veterans were honored by hosting this event virtually last year, and we thank you for that. Thank you as well to the Veterans Elementary School Chorus for lending their voices to us today, and also Scout Caroline, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I also want to thank Mayor Gorton and General Adams, who are two great advocates of veterans here in Fayette County and the Commonwealth, and of course, a big thank you to the Daughters of the American Revolution for their advocacy. But of course, most importantly, I want to thank all of the veterans here today. Mr. Bennett, and we see so many good friends out here who've served our country with valor, distinction. Brian Engel, I see with the Distinguished Flying Cross from Vietnam, sir. Thank you for your service. Robert Adams, thank you for your service in Vietnam. We appreciate all of you who have served our country. And of course, heavy on our hearts and our minds in this Veterans Day are some of the younger veterans who served our country with valor and with courage and with success and victory in Afghanistan. And while it's fresh on our memories, I just want to say, as a member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee and Foreign Affairs Committee, we've been receiving a lot of briefings from veterans who served this country with courage in Afghanistan and have now rallied to the cause of those left behind. And it's Allied Airlift, Task Force Pineapple, Task Force Argo. These are now private civilians who are veterans of our war in Afghanistan, who have come to the aid of those who have assisted the United States. And I just want to thank them publicly. What they are doing right now is absolutely remarkable to extract people who have helped the United States in arms. And they deserve recognition. Veterans to our country who continue to fight for our country. Veterans Day is a special day in this country. Founded originally to memorialize Armistice Day, the date marking the end of World War I, Americans annually have had the opportunity to take this day and thank those among us who have answered the call to serve their country. And while the First World War was named the war to end all wars, the authors of that title have unfortunately been proven wrong in their accuracy. Since the end of World War I, Kentuckians have continued to volunteer in engagement after engagement, war after war, putting on the uniform to go to faraway lands to defend our nation and our Commonwealth, following in the footsteps of frontiersmen and militiamen, soldiers who have bravely fought and sacrificed since Kentucky's inception. Today we are keeping the long-standing American tradition, first taught to us by President George Washington, by remembering those who have helped secure the values and the liberties that we enjoy today. Our founding father, President and General George Washington, once said, "The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive veterans of earlier wars were treated and appreciated by our nation." And that's why I'm so encouraged today to see the people of this community rally and come to honor our veterans and do what is right. So it's important that we take time today, and I encourage all of you to do this every day, to be grateful for the service of the men and women who have put on the uniform and served in the armed forces. We should never forget to reflect on the amazing freedoms we enjoy here in the United States and recognize that they are defended every day by service members here at home and abroad. It's also incumbent for us in Congress to take care of our veterans, and through our past work on the Veterans Affairs Committee and continuing through the work of the 6th Congressional Veterans Coalition, I continually am humbled at the sacrifices of our veterans and how they have made those sacrifices for our country. These veterans here in the 6th District are some of the most involved and forward-thinking that I've had the privilege of interacting with. For our veterans here in Kentucky, their calling to serve our nation did not stop when they took off their uniform. In our coalition, I get to hear firsthand how the implementation of laws affecting veterans is going and what needs to be fixed at the VA, or how decisions in Washington affect them. And let me tell you, our veterans have no problem telling me exactly what they think. We had a big success a few years ago in the Congress in a bipartisan way. We passed the VA Mission Act to improve health care. We've got a great VA here in Lexington at the Franklin Sowsley campus on Leestown and on Cooper Drive, the Troy Bowling campus. By the way, 2 great American heroes who served our country in Iwo Jima from Kentucky and who were honored in legislation we passed to rename that VA in their honor. But because of these veterans and their input, we introduced in the House of Representatives and passed legislation making it easier for veterans to submit their disability claims and cut through bureaucratic red tape. During the pandemic and still today, it's critical that we make it easier, not harder, for veterans to navigate the claims process. The VA Mission Act was supposed to provide veterans with better access to non-VA care in the community. We now need to implement that law. It's a 2-year-old law. Some of it's going well, but we get feedback from our veterans here that we still don't have access to the non-VA care that they deserve when the VA can't and is unable to provide it. We were also able to enact legislation that makes it easier for veterans pursuing their higher education with the GI Bill. Since being signed into law last year, we have already seen student veterans across the Commonwealth and the country able to complete their degrees with the help of this legislation. And most recently, I'm working with a member across the aisle on the VA committee to restore GI Bill benefits for veterans who didn't use their full educational allowance. These are just a few cases of veterans looking out for veterans wanting to make a difference. And you know, in Kentucky, we love our veterans, but we also love our thoroughbred horses and our other horses. And so we're taking advantage of equine assisted therapy in suicide prevention. This works, it's evidence-based, and we are providing amendments to appropriations bills to provide more funding for grants for these veterans, some of whom do not have regular interaction with the VA and need mental health intervention, and equine assisted therapy works. I'm continually humbled at the sacrifices our veterans have made for our country. One day is not enough to honor all of the weeks and months our service members have spent away from their families defending the freedoms we get to enjoy. We have the privilege to live in the greatest country in the world, and in no small part that is due to our veterans, and especially today to our veterans of Afghanistan. Don't let anyone tell you your service wasn't worth it. You defended this country for 20 years. You kept our homeland safe. You served with honor and victory, and you carried out your mission. God bless all of you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Congressman Barr, for being here today and for your comments. Next up, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Brigadier General Benjamin Adams. Brigadier General Adams has served in the armed forces for over 4 decades. He began his career at Fort Polk, Louisiana, and later came to Kentucky after being assigned Company Executive Officer of the 159th Aviation Battalion in the 101st Air Assault Division in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He has served in many aviation leadership roles and has flown over 4,000 hours. Most recently, Brigadier General Adams served as the Chief of Staff of the Kentucky Army National Guard Joint Forces Headquarters and currently serves as the Assistant Adjutant General of the Kentucky Joint Forces Headquarters. Please join me in welcoming this outstanding individual, Brigadier General Benjamin Adams.
Good morning, everyone. Especially good morning to you. We have a future general out there at some point in time, so let's encourage them to continue to support our military as well. Congressman Barr, Mayor Gorton, Congresswoman Lamb, and our DAR representatives. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this wonderful ceremony, celebrating the service of our veterans, but also recognize the importance of this date, the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown in Arlington, Virginia. As well as a special thank you to all of our veterans and family members in the audience today. On each day such as this, we hear countless speeches that are no more memorable than the passing steps paced by a sentinel of the old guard. While each speech and each step is special, one is virtually indistinguishable from the other. If you allow me, I'd like to invest my time with you from this podium to try not so much to render a remarkable speech as to leave you with some insight from a perspective of an old soldier of what brings us to such places to honor those who have stood their watch to guard our freedom. If 4 decades and a few days can be boiled down to a single word, it's honor. Honor is both a noun and a verb. We've heard it used as a pronoun and even as a proper noun. We seem to do everything with the word itself but honor it. We fail to set it aside as something rare that seems to evade our ability to define it. For those who have observed honor from afar, the act of honor unfolding before our witness should fail mere words. Not long ago, I came across an article in a Veterans Service magazine about the Tomb of the Unknown in Arlington National Cemetery. This one article, though, shed light on one of our national treasures I was unaware of, frankly, that I'd never considered that we mark, or better yet, we celebrate this month, the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. For this reason is for this. In my lifetime, it has always been. Soldiers have always paced the Guard's 21 steps. And for the 3 who lie in such a place of distinction in our national psyche, we will never know their names or their identity. It has simply and always been. But this article sheds some light on the events that led up to the tomb being erected and the immortal sentiments carved upon its face. With the congressional money allocated and location identified in Arlington National Cemetery, an effort was launched by New York Congressman and World War I veteran Hamilton Fish and the American Legion to bring a soldier home from his repose in one of the 4 American Expeditionary Force cemeteries in France. The purpose of the legislation, and I quote, to bring home the body of an unknown American warrior who in himself represents no section, creed, race, in the late war, but who typifies, moreover, the soul of America and the supreme sacrifice of her heroic dead, unquote. The 56-ton marble tomb that would eventually honor 4 of our unknown fallen measures 8 feet wide, 13 feet long, and 11 feet tall. On the north side and south sides of the tomb are 3 carved wreaths, inverted, representing mourning, and also representing the 6 major campaigns in World War I. On the eastern face of the tomb are 3 carved classical figures: Victory, holding a palm branch; Peace, holding a dove; and Valor, holding a sword. On the west face are the words that all visitors see when visiting the tomb: Here rest, in honor, glory, an American soldier known but to God. So many had fallen in battle on the foreign shore during World War I that it wasn't very difficult to be able to pick one to bring back to eternal rest on American soil. The honor of selecting the first unknown soldier was bestowed on Sergeant Edward Younger, a highly decorated soldier who fought in 6 campaigns of World War I. After the selection, the honor soldier's coffin was readied for transport and placed in the care of sailors and Marines of the USS Olympia for the passage across the Atlantic. The problem was, for a Spanish-American era warship of that vintage, the ports and passageways were all too narrow or confined to bring a coffin below deck. The commander of the protected cruiser, Captain Henry Wyman, made it abundantly clear to the officer in charge of the detail, Marine Captain Graves Erskine, and his 38-man Marine Honor Guard, was to keep the casket level and dry. The level part meant there would be no tilting here or there to navigate below decks, so the casket would have to be lashed to the signal bridge on the ship. The dry part would become a little more problematic, as essentially 2 hurricanes were converging in the path of USS Olympia. Tarps were layered upon the casket, and the ropes were lashed to anything sturdy enough to prevent the casket from being washed overboard in the pitching sea. One Marine commented, "We tied enough rope around that casket to protect the shelter and to secure a battleship fore and aft." The sea state was so rough during the trip across the Atlantic, the Marines standing guard over the casket were lashed to the ship's stanchions so they would not be washed overboard. As I read the article, I could see the officer and honor guard checking and rechecking every mooring and line and feeling beneath the tarp every few moments to ensure it was still dry. I felt, as a soldier who has felt such imperative a mission in my own career, every ache and of uncertainty as did that officer. The mission succeeded seemed to be a mere footnote in some historical journal, relegated to some back shelf beyond reach in some obscure library. But honor is like that. We go to war ordered by the officers and politicians above us in the chain of command. That we wage war, we do from behind the sights of our rifles, or behind the flight controls, or behind the helm of the warships, is an honor known only to ourselves and the service members immediately to our left and right. We may extol such stories of such burdens in epistles and tomes of countless volumes in countless libraries, speaks only to the effort we expend in trying and failing to convey what such honor of every shared mission feels like from within. Clearly trying to convey such intrinsic matters is a fool's errand. Veterans Day is an effort to pause and an effort to render respect to every such honor. I may tell you only from the view afforded by the dirt directly in front of my foxhole that it has been an honor to serve our great nation. It has been one of my highest honors to serve each soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine to my left and to my right. Every one of those GIs has a story, and every one of them can be shared 1,000. Each one of them could share 1,000 more stories. and every one of them would be and is worth hearing and worth cherishing. We honor that very honor on Veterans Day. We may go even as far as to mouth some sentiment as, thank you for your service. So what am I seem to be taking so long to say is all a bit of thank you for the honor in having served and for every minute of every detail between my swearing in and the turning off the lights behind me when the mission was complete. Thank you for allowing me to have some connectivity to the soldiers who continue to guard the marble tomb and of the sacred place on our soil and our hearts. Know that the gratitude goes both ways in that equation, and that just about every one of us wouldn't have traded a moment of that honor, of that perfect and often misplaced word, for anything in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigadier General Adams, for that wonderful recognition and for your outstanding service to this country. I will now ask our chorus to perform for us again, and so we can enjoy some more music. don't know if this can get any better. This is just an outstanding day. Please give Veterans Park Elementary Intermediate Course and Director Miss Johnny Bishop another round of applause. It is just such an honor to get to share this event with them every year that we get to do this. And I just want you all to know how special this is. So not only to me, but to all of our veterans in our community. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite Doris Settles, the Transylvania Chapter DAR Garden Coordinator, to lead us in the National Salute for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Centennial, followed by the playing of taps by Andrew McGranahan. Doris?
Thank you, Susan and Linda, for inviting us to put this garden here and to celebrate with everyone on this day. Part of the reason why I wanted to do this is to honor my father, William H. Deeren, who served as a naval pilot lieutenant in the Pacific Theater of World War II, and all my family members in all the wars that they've served in back to the war that created this great nation. The 21 Bell Salute is the calling to attention of the freedom-loving people of the world for purposes of rendering the highest honors to those Americans who have paid the ultimate price for freedom. We invite communities to pay respects to the honored dead and for the American people to pause, show gratitude, and render the highest honors to these veterans' unsung valor. As I ring the bell 21 times, I ask you to think about and remember and honor the veterans in each of your families. Taps is an easily recognized, emotive, and powerful 24-note bugle call and serves as the international medley for Lights Out, the final resting for deceased soldiers. This synchronized playing of taps around the free world by individuals and organizations is a solemn calling to the defense of free people worldwide. During the playing of taps, I will place 11 white roses, a bouquet similar to the one placed at the original Tomb of the Unknown Soldier on this day, on November 11th in 1921. Held at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the white rose bouquet was laid by Sergeant Younger on the casket of America's first unknown soldier. The baby's breath, or gypsophilia, represents falling snow.
Thank you, and thank you, Doris, and thank you, Mr. McGranahan, for your outstanding performance. Thank you, sir. In closing, I would like to take this time to thank our speakers, Mayor Gorton, Congressman Barr, Brigadier General Adams, DAR State Regent Carol Rogow, Chapter Regent Mary Broach, Miss Jacqueline for being here too, Garden Coordinator Doris Settles for making this program a success. We're a good tag team, aren't we? I would also like to thank Caroline Stapleton, Mr. Andrew McGranahan, Miss Johnny Bishop, and the wonderful Veterans Park Elementary Intermediate Chorus and for their performances today. And of course, I've got to mention the other people that are behind the scenes that made this all happen. And that is, first, my legislative aide, Kelly Farley. Second, it's Lex TV. Parks and Recreations, thank you all so much for helping us set this up this morning. Our wonderful Division of Police, our police officers that are here today, thank you so much for your service to our community. And other legislative aides, I know that Sean and Jennifer helped with the golf carts. I really appreciate that very much. And for all of my colleagues being here today to celebrate with us means so much to me. And other elected officials in the audience for making this event possible and for contributing your support. Thank you for attending today's events and for narrowing your focus on our patriots near and far. I encourage all of us to continue paying attention to our veterans today and all of the days that follow. Thank them for their courage. Thank them for your freedom. And thank them for doing their part to preserve ourselves and our posterity. One day a year is simply not enough. And I say to each of you, the veterans listening today and all those that might be looking on, we are so grateful for you. We're grateful for your service. We're grateful for your sacrifice. And just as you fought for us, we will always fight for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Go in peace.
But you know what? Despite the